The political slugfest in Pakistan has reached its boiling point. Adding another twist to turmoil, Pakistan Prime Minister Imran Khan has called for early elections, pushing Pakistan into a constitutional crisis from a political one. After Imran Khan's proposal, Pakistan President Arif Alvi has dissolved the assemblies. In his address to the nation, Imran Khan said that the political conspiracy with foreign interference has failed to topple a democratically elected government in Pakistan. Imran Khan asks citizens to prepare for next elections and said that the people of Pakistan will decide the fate of their nation.
मैं आज अपनी सारी कौम को मुबारक देना चाहता हूँ कि नेशनल असेंबली के हमारे स्पीकर ने मुस्तरद किया, रिजेक्ट किया एक वो मूव रिजीम चेंज की जो कोशिश की गई थी पाकिस्तान के 22 करोड़ अवाम में, एक बाहर से प्लान किया हुआ नो कॉन्फिडेंस मोशन जिसके पीछे एक फॉरेन एजेंडा था, और जो आज स्पीकर ने उसको जो रिजेक्ट किया है और ये नो कॉन्फिडेंस को जो रिजेक्ट किया, मैं सारी कौम को आज मुबारक देता हूं। अपनी कौम को आज कहता हूं कि आप इलेक्शंस की तैयारी करें और आपने फैसला करना है। किसी बाहर की कुव्वत, किसी करप्ट लोगों ने फैसला नहीं करना कि इस मुल्क का मुस्तकबिल क्या होगा। आपने फैसला करना है इस मुल्क का, और इंशाअल्लाह हम प्रेसिडेंट साहब को जब एडवाइस चला जाएगा, असेंबलीज डिसॉल्व हो जाएंगी और फिर आगे जो भी प्रोसीजर है अगले इलेक्शन का, केयर टेकर गवर्नमेंट का, वो अब शुरू हो जाएगा। मैं अपनी कौम को मुबारक देता हूं और मैं अल्लाह का शुक्र अदा करता हूं कि इतनी बड़ी साजिश जो मुल्क से की जा रही थी, एक इलेक्टेड 22 करोड़ की कौम जिसकी इलेक्टेड हुकूमत को गिराने की कोशिश की गई है, इस साजिश से वो आज फेल हो गई है।
Imran Khan's announcement came just minutes after the Deputy Speaker adjourned the National Assembly session, calling the session unconstitutional. The Deputy Speaker said that the session was a contradiction to Article 5 of the Constitution. He added that he rejects the attempts of changing the regime with foreign interference.
वज़ीर-ए-आज़म पाकिस्तान के खिलाफ अपोजिशन ने अदम एतमाद की तहरीक 8 मार्च 2022 को पेश की थी। अदम एतमाद की तहरीक का आइन, कानून और रूल्स के मुताबिक होना जरूरी है। किसी गैर मुल्की ताकत को यह हक नहीं कि वो साजिश के तहत पाकिस्तान के अवाम की मुंतखब हुकूमत को गिराए। वज़ीर कानून ने जो नुकात उठाए हैं वो दुरुस्त है, वैलिड है, लिहाजा मैं रूलिंग देता हूं कि अदम एतमाद की करारदाद आइन और कौमी मुख्तारी व आज़ादी से मुनाफी है और रूल्स और ज़ाब्ते के खिलाफ है। ये करारदाद में मुस्तरद डिसअलाउ करने की रूलिंग देता हूं। ईवान की कार्रवाई रोक की जाती है। फरमान में इस्लामी जमहूरिया पाकिस्तान के दस्तूर के आर्टिकल 54 की शिक 3 के तहत तजवीज़ करदा इख्तियारात को बरवेकार लाते हुए कौमी असम्बली का जुमा 25 मार्च 2022 को तलब करदा इजलास इसके काम के इख्तिताम पर बाज़रिया हाज़िर बर्खास्त करता हूं।
Now, a piece of paper that Imran Khan flashed in his rally in Islamabad last week, a document that allegedly contains evidence of an international conspiracy to topple his government, has once again become the center of political crisis in Pakistan. Earlier, Pak Foreign Minister Shah Mahmood Qureshi said that before the session, he received a call from his Turkish counterpart who said that Ankara is monitoring the situation in Pakistan and that the government should complete the 5-year term.
इस सारी मूव से जो मरासले की हुई है उससे पाकिस्तान की इंटरनेशनल रेपुटेशन और फॉरेन पॉलिसी को भी कोई हिट और रामिफिकेशन हो सकते हैं।
कह रहे हैं देखिए पहली बात ये है कि जो गुफ्तगू हुई है कभी सफारती आदाब तकाजे उसकी इजाजत देते हैं? कोई खुद मुख्तार मुल्क, कोई सॉवरन कंट्री इसकी इजाजत देती है? और अगर आपने अब सवाल कर दिया है तो फिर मैं आपको एक बहुत अहम बात कर दूं जो अभी तक मैंने किसी से नहीं की और आज कर रहा हूं। अभी जब मैं असेंबली के लिए आ रहा था तो तुर्की के वजीर खारजा का मुझे फोन आया और उसने तशवीश का इजहार किया है। उन्होंने कहा है हम पल पल की खबर देख रहे हैं पाकिस्तान में क्या हो रहा है। हम समझते हैं कि इमरान खान को अपनी आईनी मुद्दत पूरी करनी चाहिए।
Currently, the opposition is protesting inside and outside the Pakistan parliament. They claim that They had crossed the magic number of 172. In fact, they say they were at 176 with support of at least 174 lawmakers of the National Assembly. The joint opposition has called the Speaker's ruling unconstitutional and had decided to sit in the National Assembly until the Supreme Court takes a decision.
स्पीकर साहब ने गैर आईनी काम किया है, पाकिस्तान का आईन तोड़वाया गया है, पाकिस्तान के आईन को तोड़ने का सजा वाज़ेह है, अदम एतमाद का वोटिंग आज ही होना है आईन के मुताबिक। यूनाइटेड ऑपोजिशन ने ये फैसला किया है कि हम नेशनल असेंबली में धरना देंगे जब तक हमारा आईनी हक ना दिया जाए, और हम अपना लॉयर से इस वक्त आज ही अभी सुप्रीम कोर्ट पहुंचेंगे कि हमारा पोलिंग, हमारा अदम एतमाद का वोट आज ही किया जाए। अदम एतमाद वज़ीर आज़म साहब के खिलाफ जमा हो चुका है, वो पार्लियामान को डिसॉल्व भी नहीं कर सकता है, अदम एतमाद का मुकाबला करना पड़ेगा।
Let's keep this conversation going. Kadira Pethiagoda is an international affairs expert and fellow at Australia-India Institute. And thank you very much, Kadira, for staying with us. The opposition is very disgruntled. You can tell from their reaction following this move by the Deputy Speaker. They called that move unconstitutional. The Deputy Speaker also called the no confidence motion unconstitutional. Let's talk about the future of Pakistan. How will Imran Khan's leadership look like now?
Well, I think he's a very shrewd politician, and he's painted a certain narrative here where he's managed to present himself as the patriot, and those opposing him as being corrupted by foreign forces and the US in particular. And he's also offered the public the possibility of an election by calling for an election. So what he's done essentially is, if his opponents manage to prevent there being an election, he will create a sense of grievance amongst the population, amongst his core supporters, but even amongst others, that the people have been robbed of a chance to make the decision. And that's quite a powerful force. And I think it remains to be seen really how those things will balance out, and where the role the army plays. Because if he is able to create enough discord in the streets, that may change the minds of some of those politicians, as well as some of the leaders of the military.
Kadira, as an international affairs expert, what do you make of this foreign interference claims by the Pakistan Prime Minister Imran Khan?
Yes, so he's said that he's got a letter in his possession which he was claiming was evidence of that, and then there's been some legal challenge to his ability to share that. Apparently, I think it's very difficult to say. I think generally a lot of great powers, whether it be the US, China, Russia, they would all have a very keen interest in what's happening in Pakistan. And I think that given the history of the country and the role foreign governments have had in the past, I think the Pakistani population will be very likely to believe his claims, but can't really comment on the veracity of what he's saying. But I think from a political perspective, he definitely could get some traction amongst the population.
Well, Pakistan Foreign Minister Shah Mahmood Qureshi says that before the session, he received a call from his Turkish counterpart who said that Ankara is monitoring the situation in Pakistan. What role is Turkey playing in this politics or in Pakistan?
Yes, I think it's a very interesting point, because I think Turkey is seeking, has been for the last 5 or 6 years, to position itself as a real kind of leader within the Muslim world, and I think it seeks to start playing a role of sort of a peacemaker or a facilitator amongst other Muslim countries. So I think it'd be interesting to see what Turkey actually says, what they come out and say, whether they confirm these claims, and if they do confirm it that they want to see a 5-year term, I think that would be quite a strong intervention by Turkey. That's quite unprecedented.
What does Prime Minister Imran Khan need to do to actually foster that unity and foster that trust, or bring back that trust on him from Pakistanis?
Yeah, so I think the main grievance ordinary Pakistanis have is with regard to the economy and the cost of living, which are obviously things that are very common around the world at the moment. And so I think that, that's a long-term challenge that he would have to deal with if he is to stay in power. I think at this moment he's looking more at sort of stoking some of the more emotional elements in people's minds, talking about foreign interference and calling for an election. So I think in the short term, he's really now just trying to show that he has enough street power to try and change people in power's minds about this matter. But in the long term, and if indeed there is an election campaign, then he would have to really convince the people that he can manage the economy and that he can improve the situation.
Before this session, there was a lot of confidence in Pakistan on the opposition. Do you think that the opposition in Pakistan is ready to take over the government, or they need much more time?
Yes, well, I think, it really remains to be seen, because he's come in as a third sort of force against the two traditional main parties. So I think it really remains to be seen, and also their image may be tarnished to some degree by his allegations. So it may sort of reshape the picture again. And they would have to sort of position themselves again as well, but highly unpredictable.
There was a lot of talk about Shehbaz Sharif. Probably you can tell us more about that. Do you think that if Shehbaz Sharif wins the elections, the upcoming elections, will he be able to manage the politics in Pakistan?
Yes, well, I think that, Imran Khan's kind of, thrown a curveball here where he's sort of changed the debate, where I think the opposition leader, any leader that takes over, will be tarnished to some degree by the claims that he's made and the sense of grievance, unless he is able to win with a strong majority at the next election. And given the history of the country, whether those elections will be able to take place without violence and other complications remains to be seen as well. So I think the outlook for him is much more complicated than it had been sort of just up until two weeks ago even.
Let me go back to the question that I asked earlier, and this is in regards to the Supreme Court. Does it have enough power to change things politically in Pakistan?
Well, I think it will really depend on whether they take the decision that it was unconstitutional, and then they allow what was to go ahead in terms of the no confidence vote to go ahead, or whether they don't say that it was unconstitutional, and in which case it would allow Imran Khan to have his way and go towards an election. So it really depends on how they decide in terms of how much intervention they'll have in the crisis.
We'll have to leave it there. I have been talking to international affairs expert and fellow at Australia-India Institute, Kadira Pethiagoda. As always, thank you very much for your time and for talking to WION today. WION is now available in your country. Download the app now and get all the news on the move.